Hi, let's talk a little about data privacy here in Brazil, and especially considering phenomenon that occurs in our economy, not only here in Brazil but in all the world. That is, you have a kind of very concentrated market. So only a few players, giant players, together on these new technologies like social media, right? Like everything that you have internet, big tech companies with advertisement mechanisms to obtain profit as one of the mechanisms. So you have this phenomenon that there are giants, tech giants with earnings, profits, with equal to the GPD of some countries. We are talking about global companies, global giants. So, in a market like this, on the other hand, we have the consumers and the citizens. So, how you can try to create a symmetry between so different parts, right? Giants and consumers. So, we have two instruments: antitrust law to regulate the market, and here we will have a discussion. Well, it's better the intervention or no intervention in the economy. Well, I think that in certain way we already have success in agree that a very concentrated market is not good for the economy if you will have a perspective of a long period, right? So we have these two sides: the corporation, the giant of the corporation, and the consumer. Well, let's see what the Brazilian law on protection of personal data will states in the Article 6: good faith and principles. Article 6, the caput, right? The treatment processing of personal data shall observe the good faith and the following principles. 1. Aim, purpose, that is, performer of the treatment for purposes that are rightful, specific, explicit, and well informed to the data owner. So, here we have the law giving power to this consumer, that is the data owner, to say, look, I need a clear information to know what is happening when I agree with you, when I close this agreement with you through your website, for example. So, explicit and well informed to the data owner, without possibility of post-treatment in a diverse way of the agreed purpose. So, I enter in that website, I see the description, the rules of that website. To navigate on that website, some data of mine will be collected, and I agree with this. And I agree with this observing the purpose that the site said before. I choose navigating there in the site. So, if the site change the policy, the norms to use that site by their user, this needs to stay clear and well informed to the user of the site, right? So you have many ways to do this. One way is you have more protection thinking as a lawyer of the company concerning the law enforcement that the agreement will obtain with a very clear way to explain to the consumer what are the rules that is on the table. So, and here we can think in legal design as a very important instrument to perform this objective of structure, find a structure among the technology and the legal framework that make possible an harmony in the relation among consumers and the big giants. Of course, are different parts, so the law try to equalize. Of course, the reality is you have so few players in this kind of market, so few giants in this kind of market, that the consumer do not have much choice, we can say in this way. So in this beginning of data privacy protection laws around the world, it's important observes how the state will understand the behavior of these big companies, because we are already seeing the impacts in our daily lives and in essential issues like politics, right? So, coming back, we are talking about protection of personal data in Brazil, and we are talking about the Article 6 good faith and principles. Again, the treatment processing of personal data shall observe the good faith and the following principles. Well, the good faith is the base of a contractual relation according the Brazilian law. You can find this norm also in the civil our civil codex as well as in our constitution. So what is good faith? You need play fair. You need show the mechanisms that relation demands, right? So what kind of data and what kind of processing my data will have if I send to you my data, right? And in this law, this Brazilian law, it's clear. Once you have agreed, you cannot change the agreement without a new consent of that user, right?